I'm an MFT intern at the Tierney Psychotherapy Group in downtown San Francisco, and we have an in-person therapy group that meets on Wednesday nights from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. in the Flood Building, which is across from Westfield Mall and above Gap. And if you'd like more details, please feel free to visit my website, matthewbrewertherapy.com, or to give me a phone call or text message at 415-745-9324. So I'm here today to share with you all our presentation topic on neurodiversity. I'm going to try to keep this video a little bit shorter to make it a little more palatable for attention spans that might be different than the everyday ordinary person. And it's nothing wrong with being a little extraordinary or different, which is the point of neurodiversity. So to jump right in, neurodiversity is a concept where the neurological differences between people are to be recognized and respected as any other normal human variation, and that the definition of normal needs a lot more expansion. On that regard, people that fall within the majority or the mainstream are considered neurotypical. They have brain wiring that helps them to fit into society in an often more flexible way than somebody that might be what we call neurodivergent or a neurominority. Now, this language might be a little different than people are used to, but the idea is that, as with any other form of diversity, such as race, skin color, sexual orientation, gender identity, that our brain and the wiring that makes us who we are in that regard deserves to be included on all conversations of diversity. This can be related to the field of disability studies, with mental health issues sometimes being what are considered invisible disabilities. So just keeping that in mind, that one of the main proponents of the neurodiversity paradigm is a sub-movement within that is the autistic community, or people with autism, and who were very vocal about nothing about us without us, that being pushed into being normal was not always something they wanted, and that they were the best determiners of their own life. And a large movement forward in this approach happened thanks to the internet and people across the globe connecting with each other in a way that they might not have been able to otherwise. And as we know with autism symptoms, that communication and social interaction can be different than the mainstream. So feel free to ask me any questions in the comments if you have, and I'll try to respond to those. But the next thing I wanted to share was a quote from a book by Thomas Armstrong, and the name of the book is Neurodiversity in the Classroom: Strength-Based Strategies to Help Students with Special Needs Succeed. And he said, in the neurodiversity model, there is no normal brain sitting in a vat somewhere in the Smithsonian or National Institute of Health, to which all other brains must be compared. There is no perfect normal brain, and we all, in some ways, are neurodivergent. There is no actual neurotypical, potentially. And another quote here by Nick Walker, who's actually a professor at the graduate school I went to. He said, quote, "The idea that there is one normal or healthy type of brain or mind, or one right style of neurocognitive functioning, is no more valid than the idea that there is one normal or right gender, race, or culture." And again, that was by Nick Walker, and he's a large proponent in the neurodiversity movement and has autism himself. Excuse me. Let's see here. So the last part of the presentation, and just to keep this a little bit shorter, I found some 8 principles of neurodiversity adopted from the book, The Power of Neurodiversity, Unleashing the Advantages of Your Differently Wired Brain by Dr. Thomas Armstrong. So I guess that's the same person as that first quote. Just making the connection there, brain. So he contends 8 different principles here. That the human brain works more like an ecosystem than a machine. Now, what I interpret this to mean is that a machine, it's either functioning or it's not. If you have a piece or a part that's broken, the whole thing can stop functioning. And we know that's not exactly how the brain works. Instead, it's more like a cultural habitat where the populations of different animals interact in different ways, and their numbers can increase and decrease, and yet the whole ecosystem still survives and can thrive or, have fluctuations. And the second component is that human brains exist along continuums of competence. And this human competence is defined by the values of the culture to which you belong. So if you're in different cultures, there's different values of competence. And whether you are regarded as disabled or gifted depends largely on when and where you were born. So if you're born in a different time or place, your differences, your neurodiversity, could be more beneficial to the culture, and thus you'd be deemed gifted instead of impaired. And so I'm kind of summarizing and moving along without the numbers. Part of success in life is based on adapting one's brain to the needs of the surrounding environment. And so here we are, the individual having to fit into the collective, which we know can often be problematic when the individual has a harder time fitting in. So success in life also depends on modifying your surrounding environment to fit the needs of your unique brain. So not only are we trying to fit into the environment, but we can get the environment to fit better to us, which is the opening to a key to changing our environment to better suit neurodivergent or neurominorities. That if we can have more social support or assistive technologies that help us to communicate, like the internet for the autistic community, or perhaps nonverbal clients, that this will help us have more success in life. So we want to promote these life-enhancing strategies that are tailored to the specific needs of the neurodiverse individual. And that ties in line with the legal rights in America from the Americans with Disabilities Act, which offers legal protection and accommodation to people that need it. And so, kind of coming full circle in number 8 here, this positive niche construction directly modifies the brain. So we make our environments better for us, which can change through neuroplasticity, our brain wiring, which in turn enhances the ability to adapt to the environment. So we change our environment, we start doing better, we have more of an ability to change our environment, and this positive feedback loop is like a spiral of growth. And eventually, different neurodiverse communities can create places for themselves in which they can thrive. And not only do you have the individual doing better, but you have people doing better in general. And that's part of what I'm trying to create here by our bipolar therapy support group in person, as well as our online community. So that was a rapid fire speech presentation. I hope these ideas give you something to think about and talk about with your friends, family, and anyone that could find this useful. Again, this is Matthew Breuer. I'm an MFT intern at Tierney Psychotherapy Group, and I'm signing off. Thank you. Bye.